Barakatha Yahweh, Barakatha Yahweh Shai, Barakatha Yahweh, Barakatha Yahweh Shai, Call Halal Yahweh Ba'Shem Yahweh Shai, Ba'Hashem Rakal Kadash. Double honor to the apostle and elders of Great Millstone. Peace and salutations to the hopeful elect that's watching and learning. To you I say shalom. Also want to give a shalom to the Akim that go on the highways and byways, doing this work in all truth and sincerity, making themselves a living sacrifice unto our power, Yahweh Ba'Shem Yahweh Shai. To you brothers I say shalom. Also want to give a shalom to the newly awakened. Those who the Most High is blessed with the ears to hear and the eyes to see. May He increase you with wisdom, knowledge, and understanding according to your lot. I'm the brother Nakamaya coming at you with another lesson. Not quite sure what I'm going to call this lesson yet, but what inspired this lesson was a quick clip that I seen on YouTube. All right, so it's going to be dealing with Esau and his blessing, right? Because the more and more his his kingdom, the Most High is bringing his kingdom to naught, right? Fulfilling Bible prophecy, right? These these Edomites again pretty desperate, right? And their only solution is their blessing, right? Which is the sword. All right, so I got a quick clip I'm gonna show you. All right, and I got an article I want to read, and I'll bring out a precept or two. Hopefully, be edifying the spirit and power of Yahweh Hashem Yahweh Shai. All right, so what I'm gonna start off with is Esau's blessing, which we can find in the book of Genesis, chapter 27, started at verse 37. Slaki, I'm gonna start at verse 38. And Esau said unto his father, Hast thou but one blessing, my father? Bless me, even also me, O my father. And Esau lifted up his voice and wept. Verse 39. And Isaac, his father, answered and said unto him, Behold, thy dwelling should be the fatness of the earth, and of the dew of heaven from above. Verse 40. And by thy sword shall thou live, and shall serve thy brother Jacob. And it shall come to pass, when thou shalt have the dominion, that thou shalt break his yoke from off thy neck. Verse 41. And here's the key as well, right? Because Esau never really got rid of his hatred for his brother, right? Because of his blessing. Verse 41. And Esau hated Jacob because of the blessing wherewith his father blessed him. And Esau said in his heart, The days of mourning for my father are at hand. Then will I slay my brother Jacob. Right? And the scriptures tell us he held his wrath to the end. Right? One of the reasons why there's going to be no mercy for Esau, because he showed no mercy. All right, so I'm gonna go ahead and get into this article real quick. Then I'll show you the clip last. All right, because ever since this pandemic been popping off, man, these gun salesmen going through the roof. Now this is an old article, right? But what made me go to it and find the article is the video I'm gonna show you after I get done reading this article. It's pretty funny, right? Because Esau, because his blessing is the sword. He believes that blessing pertains to everything, even the pandemic, right? One of the first things DJ Trump did, right, in the midst of this pandemic was activate the military, right? Like the military or guns and firearms, or his sword is the answer for everything, right? Even a disease, right? Showing you that this man has no wisdom or knowledge. All right, he just gonna pretty much revert to carnality on every front. All right, so I don't want to do too much talking. Let me go ahead and get into this article, and I'll bring out that I'll bring that video out. All right, this article right here is pretty old, a couple months ago. Came out June 13th, 2020, from the Virginia Pilot. It says gun sales in Virginia are through the roof, first driven by politics, then the pandemic, and now the protests, right? Because politics and the Second Amendment, the politicians pretty much always use that fear mongering tactics, to pretty much keep Edomites in line, right? But now with this pandemic spurring up, and all the chaos it's causing, right? Food shortages, right? Loss of work, loss of wealth, right? People getting evicted, right? It's gonna cause a lot of desperation, right? And a lot of these Edomites that's well off or still maintaining their property or whatever, Their fears are growing because they see their livelihoods being jeopardized by the have-nots. It's causing a lot of disturbance, if you will, or a lot of anxiety, right? And a lot of these people are gonna be clinging to their weapons, right? And as we know, these weapons been flying off the shelves ever since this pandemic hit, right? At all-time high. All right. Go ahead and get into this article. It says Robert Marcus has owned Bob's Gun Shop in downtown Norfolk for 3 decades. He's seen firearm sales tick up plenty of times over the years, like when there's an election coming, right? Because politicians use this as a crutch, man, right? Fear mongering, right? Even when it wasn't justified, but right now in the midst of a pandemic, hey man, you can just imagine, the politician ain't really got to say much, right? Because people can pretty much see the doom and gloom that's coming. All right. He's seen firearm sales tick up plenty of times over the years, like when there's an election coming, or there's some type of social unrest dominating the headlines. And right, and we got plenty of social unrest dominating the headlines, right? Especially when you consider what's going on over there in Portland, right? I mean, we seen riots and protests like that, but this thing been going on for almost 3 months, man. Right, and that's something that's almost unheard of in Babylon the Great, America. Usually people protest about a week or two. The news will cover it about that same amount of time, and that'll get brushed under the rug. But they going strong over there in Portland. Showing you that these times that we living in, man, it's not it's not your typical just your typical protest. Then what's also inflaming, that situation is Donald Trump got undercover federal agents. Well, they're not even undercover. They dressed in military gear. That's pretty much going to war with the citizens, with the protesters, right? Then you got rioters and agitators out there that's intentionally, destroying and, setting buildings and dumpsters on fire, right? Causing, adding to the chaos and confusion. So it's only making for a worse situation. But this is all part of Bible prophecy, man. Right? The Most High is going to bring this place down, every imaginable way possible. Right? Civil unrest, through storms, through plagues. Right? I mean, he's doing a marvelous work, and it's a fitting sight to see, man. Right? Because this place got a lot to pay for. In the same way that it was established, off of rape, robbery, bloodshed. Unrighteous decrees, that's the same way the Most High is going to take it out, right? With a violent overthrow. But he's never seen them skyrocket like they have in recent months. He's talking about gun sales. It's incredible, Marcus said. There are a lot of extraneous things going on now that have caused guns to become very desirable, right? A lot of things happening at one time, man. Right? Showing you the works of the Most High. During the first 5 months of this year, FBI statistics show the number of criminal background checks requests submitted for gun sales in Virginia went up 77%. 77%, man. Right? Compared to the same period last year. And that doesn't even include the past couple of weeks, which Marcus and others said have been especially busy. Purchases first began to increase late last year when Democrats won the majority of Virginia's legislative seats and vowed to pass more restrictive gun laws, Marcus said. Right, and that's just from the political angle. Right, now, then when you factor in the pandemic, job loss, property loss, food shortages, right, that's just gonna push those numbers up even higher as far as people are acquiring for guns, right? Because people are gonna feel the need to protect themselves, especially when you're gonna have angry mobs of people, looking for food or just looking to do damage or want retribution or whatever the case may be. They continued to stay elevated in January when the General Assembly convened in Richmond. Then in March, the coronavirus pandemic caused many to fear it would lead to civil unrest, and it has, right? And it's only going to intensify. We're just seeing it on a low level now. or what we pretty much seeing in Portland, Oregon, man, gonna pretty much start to spread across this whole country, especially when this famine started to kick in, these food shortages, right? And more loss of these jobs come into play, right? It's just gonna, this place gonna look like a real hellhole. Stimulus checks provided by the federal government also made it easier for some to fund their gun purchases, right? And once these stimulus checks get you do away with, that's only gonna speed up the process, right? Giving the government more reason to bring in these martial law troops, which is the ultimate goal, right? But that's gonna be a gradual thing, right? But pretty much once they do away with that food, man, that's just gonna show or them food shortages start really kicking in, right? That's sure enough gonna just speed up the process even more, right? That's gonna be the real nail in the coffin, if you will. That's when Marcus and some other local gun shop workers say sales really went through the roof. The FBI conducted 3.7 million background checks for firearm sales across the country in March. Now that's just 1 month, man. 3.7 million in 1 month. The highest total since it began publishing the data in 1998, right? In 1 month, man. And that was the month that, all the restrictions and everything really started coming down on this coronavirus. Showing you that, hey, man, like in the twinkling in the blink of an eye, man, like things could just change like that, right? And nobody really saw this coming, man. Just think about how fast, everything just went to hell, when this coronavirus came over here to the States. Now, when it was over there in, China, you had people making memes, mockeries, had little funny hashtags, even had DJ Trump making little slang words, calling it the Chinese flu or whatever he coined it. But once it hit over here, man, this place just got dark quick, man. All the mirth, everything about this place, man, just seemed, the light seemed to go out. Angry and sometimes violent protests across the country the past couple of weeks have helped spur the largest surge in sales. Demonstrators are speaking out following the May 25th death of George Floyd, who died after a Minneapolis police officer kneeled on his neck for several minutes. And then you got, the death of George Floyd, that really pretty much sparked, all these protests that we seeing, right? Adding more fuel to the fire, right? In the middle of a pandemic, right? People pretty much forgot about the pandemic for a little while, once George Floyd died, Also rising up these, these gun sales, because once that happened, you had these Black Lives Matter protesters, everywhere, springing up everywhere, right? Which also caused, anxiety to, a lot of these regular citizens, right? Mainly, a lot of these the Edomites, man, right? Having to see Black Lives Matter masks everywhere on their shirts, people marching through their neighborhoods, right? Just adding more fuel to the fire, Hey, like I said, it's a beautiful thing, man, what the Most High is doing. All right, he's taking away all their comforts, man. The mirth is ceasing in Babylon, man. Right? A lot of people are really fearful right now, said Josh Longarcher, who helps run 2 Superior pawn and gun shops owned by his wife, Amy. News of some demonstrators ending with violent clashes between police and protesters, as well as vandalism and looting, has led some to worry that police will be too overwhelmed to respond to other emergencies in a timely manner, he said. And they pretty much ran all the police out of Portland, right? And then you got talks of them just doing away with the police altogether, which also, pretty much caused these gun sales to go through the roof even more, right? Because if, people don't have 911 to call to protect them, right? The first thought, which is, something that everybody should consider, right? Especially if you're an Edomite, right? And your, in 911 was your first line of defense, right? But once they take that away, the only thing you got is your sword, man, right? And if you didn't have one at the time, you damn sure made sure you went out and got one, right? That's why these sales going through the roof. And this video gonna prove it. Even if you didn't think you needed one, you went and got you one, right? News of some demonstrators ending with violent clashes between police and protesters, as well as vandalism and looting, has led some to worry that police will be too overwhelmed to respond to other emergencies in a timely manner, he said. Many recent buyers are purchasing their first guns, according to employees at 4 local stores, and that's what our video is going to pretty much be about, right? These first time, gun owners, right? Because a lot of them coming in there with thinking they can just buy these guns and walk out with them in the same day, not knowing that the process don't work that way. And it's got some of these gun salesmen, frustrated. That's what pretty much prompted this video. Most tend to be interested in weapons best suited for self-defense, such as handguns and shotguns. Customers come from just about every age group, race, and social economic background, they said. The increased demand and social distancing guidelines occasionally have led to lines extending outside local gun stores. Right, we've seen some of them lines. You would think you was at a Democratic voting booth, right? Because the Democrats have these long voting lines on election day. That's what it looked like, man. Right? Just long lines where these people lining up to buy guns. Right? And in this video, when I show this video, I want you to pay attention to the walls and look around the store, man. Like this place is literally empty when it comes to guns, man. Like these people are buying up everything. A couple of Superior pawn and gun stores owned by relatives have even shut down for a day or two to try to catch up on paperwork and restock. Longatcher said. It's like the perfect storm in the firearm business, Marcus said, adding that it's been a challenge to keep display cases stocked. And he ain't lying either, because you're going to see that in this video. Pump action shotguns have been particularly popular at Superior Pawn and Guns, Longatcher said. They're sold before they get to the store, he said. Right, people pre-ordering them things. Marcus has noticed a lot of women visiting. They tend to like small handguns with limited recoil, he said. Normally, at this time of year, gun sales drop off as people start spending more time outside, Longatcher said, but that doesn't appear to be the case this year. Because people got to spend a lot of time inside, right, due to this coronavirus. For the sales to be where they are at this time of year is highly unusual, he said. There's been no let up, right, because the Most High ain't letting up on these devils, man. He's bringing this place down, right? So all that mirth that they used to have, that pompous feeling they used to have, right, all that's just turned into straight fear, right, because they see that kingdom crumbling, right? You got main talking heads, people like Alex Jones, right, who got millions upon millions of followers, right? He pretty much on YouTube, having discussions, him and a couple other Edomites, and they just pretty much admit, man, that, America is finished, man, right? They never seen anything like this, right? The writing's on the wall, man, right? So you got some people that's still in doubt, thinking this thing gonna blow over, it's gonna bounce back, right? But you got some people that got a little more of a head upon their shoulders, man, that see the writing on the wall and know that this place is finished, right? There ain't no coming back, right? It's only a downward spiral from here, right? America is circling the drain, if you will. For the sales to be where they are at this time of year is highly unusual, he said. There's been no let up. And with this being a presidential election year, it's not likely to slow anytime soon, right? Because Donald Trump, right? He pushing this fear factor real hard, right? Talking about people trying to steal the election, all kind of madness. So this also gonna spur up a lot of confusion and frustration, and also cause people especially these Second Amendment nuts, and not only that, there's people that's all about these quote unquote voter frauds. People that feel like they got to protect their elections, right? It's going to also cause them to come out there armed up, right? It's just a lot of confusion, man. But, that's pretty much what Babylon is, or what it means. All right, let me go ahead and get to the video, because that's the end of the article. Really don't plan on making this no long lesson. Right, now just the video right here that spawned this lesson right here, because what we have right here is a local, gun owner. It was not a gun owner, but gun salesman, right? He's pretty much frustrated with these first time gun buyers, right? Because they just thinking they're gonna just come up in there and just buy guns, right? And just walk out with them, like they just purchasing, food or something else for their households, right? And it don't work like that, right? It's a process that they got to go through, background checks or whatever, right? I'm gonna go ahead and play this video, but before I play it, when I play it, I want you to just pay attention and look around at the background, look at the walls, look at the shelves. You don't see not a gun in sight, man. Showing you how empty these places are, and these people are buying them. They flying off the shelves, like literally. All right, let's get this video.
Because you first-time gun buyers are irritating the f*** out of me. You've never been around before to purchase a gun, and all of a sudden now you want stuff done like this. Well, listen. That's not the way it works. Yes, there's a 10-day waiting period. You're going to have to fucking wait for your gun. Yes, we don't have the gun. They're coming from the warehouse, and shipping doesn't take 2 fairy fucking days, okay? It comes within a week because everybody's behind. Stop asking me if you can pay more money to take your gun, because it doesn't work like that, okay? Be patient. You will get your gun. They're coming in. Warrior One will not fucking close, period. Even if we gotta be here to give you your guns and ammo, you will get it. We are essential, and it's as simple as that. Be patient, you're gonna get your stuff. Next time, get involved when they try to take your shit.
Go ahead and get into a scripture real quick. Now that statement he said, that was a political statement right there, right? Because politicians always, harp on, Democrats trying to steal guns, trying to take their guns away from them. But what we got coming down the pipes, right? And how bad the Most High is gonna stir this place up. They are gonna eventually come for your guns, right? Because what they're gonna try and force them on the people, man. Right, with these unrighteous decrees, right? People gonna have every right to, try to defend themselves, right? But can't fight against Bible prophecy. Got the book of 2nd Esdras, chapter 15, start at verse 14. Woe to the world and them that dwell therein, for the sword in their destruction draweth nigh, and one people shall stand up and fight against another, and swords in their hand, right? And this is what we finna get ready to see on many levels, right? We're gonna have these race wars popping off, right? We're gonna have, the militias and the people fighting against the government, right? Fighting against these vaccines, fighting against the mark of the beast, right? Fighting for their freedoms, their constitution, right? But all this is all the works of the Most High, bringing this place low, right? Because the same way it was established, rape, robbery, murder, bloodshed, right? It's the same way the Most High, is slated to destroy it, right? And to bring it down. And then ultimately, the icing on the cake is going to be those ICBM, those missiles, man. All right? But it's going to be a process. Verse 16. Let me read 15 again. For the sword in their destruction draweth nigh, and one people shall stand up and fight against another, and swords in their hands. Right? And these same swords is what we see flying off the shelves. Verse 16. For there should be sedition among men, and invading one another. They shall not regard their kings nor princes, and the courses of their actions shall stand in their power. Verse 17. A man shall desire to go into a city, and shall not be able. Verse 18. For because of their pride, the city shall be troubled, and the houses shall be destroyed, and men shall be afraid, right? And you're already being afraid. And it's just due to the coronavirus, right? Like I say, and loss of jobs and, the famine and all the fear-mongering that's, surrounding it. Things ain't really heat up yet, but it's coming. But things, you can already see the famine already coming because in some of these states, they having, like food drives, you got, same way they got these long lines, people lining up to buy guns. Well, you got, some people pretty much admitting, man, if it weren't for, for some of these food banks, right, just giving out food every month or every week, or how often they give it out, say they wouldn't have had nothing to eat. right? But this is only going worse, especially when these food shortages really kick in more, right? Due to inflation, right? And the more plagues that, these seeds failing, right? It's just going to get worse and worse for these people, man. Verse 18, for because of their pride, the city shall be troubled. The houses shall be destroyed, and men shall be afraid. Verse 19, a man shall have no pity upon his neighbor, but shall destroy their houses with the sword, and spoil their goods, because of lack of bread, and for great tribulation. That's what we got coming, man. Right, and that's why these gun sales are selling through the roof. Right, because people are seeing their livelihoods, man, threatened, their property threatened. Right, and the more people that you have without, right, it's gonna make the people that have, pray. Right, and as the scripture says, a man ain't gonna have no pity on his neighbor. So these are times that we're coming into. So, you just don't expect this place to get worse and worse, right? No matter how many guns, they put out there on the streets, man, or how much they sell, right? This place is gonna fail, right? And these guns are not gonna save them. That's why the weapons of our warfare are not carnal. That's why if you're an Israelite, so-called Black, Hispanic, Native American, or even if you are Israelite that look like one of the other nations, right? The weapons of our warfare are not carnal, right? Only the Most High is going to deliver us through this thing, right? So I hope this lesson was edifying. I want to say, call halal Yahweh B'Hashem Yahweh Shai B'Hashem Rakakadash. Double honor to the apostle and the elder great millstone. Peace to salutations to the hopeful elect that's watching and learning. To you I say shalom. All right? And stay prayed up. All right? The Most High is doing a marvelous work. Stay circumspect. Right, because with these sales, these gun sales going through the roof, everybody's pretty much armed in this time, and an armed man with a gun, a lot of them look to really, a lot of people emboldened when they had them firearms on them. So you feel like somebody just try and entice you, and lower you into a senseless argument or foolishness. Just be circumspect and be aware of that, right? Even though the Most High got us, we still got to do our part and be smart. All right, so I hope this lesson was edifying. I want to say, call halal Yahweh B'Hashem Yahweh Shai B'Hashem Kakadash Wa Abal Babal Shalom.